Yes, sir. We are.
We are live. Yo, 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 we are live. We are
Yeah.
live. We are live. Get nerdy with me is live prime time with Mingo D. Welcome back, everybody. This is prime time with Mingo D. I'm your host, as I just said, Mingo D.
I'm your boys. Snake in the house with the drink.
And I am the one and only, the Hammer.
I mean, I
Hey.
don't know about the one and only, but,
Hey,
most relevant, I
today
It
is
could
guess.
the
be.
one and only. But no.
Well, guys, it is good to be back. I know we've been on the hiatus, different things have been going on in the world of reality, but now we're back in this Zoom, internet, TV? Nope, not TV, but internet space of awesome to give you this primetime live. So, as you should already know, this is about Loki. We're going to talk about Loki. It comes on Wednesday. So if you're catching this replay, if you're watching it on YouTube or you're finding it on Facebook and you're watching it and you're like, but Loki comes on today, then get ready because we're going to talk about some things right before the show. So don't watch the show just yet because we're just, go into some little details of it right about now. So I'm just going to go ahead and give you the list of things we're going to talk about. Then we're going to talk about it. First thing we're going to talk about what this show is going to be about. Is it going to be any good? Is it, what is the premise? We're going to talk about the factors that is going to cause this certain someone that may or may not be coming on the show. And as you see, it's Lady Loki. Will she be here? Will she be not? We don't know. And then we're going to talk about the people that may or may not be playing it. A certain someone specifically. She we'll get into that. So starting right off, let's talk about the show. All right, as you know, it's going to air on Wednesday night, as I just said. But what's so amazing about this show, what I like about the show, and what makes it amazing is that I think it's a very pivotal part of the MCU as a whole. Well, yeah, cinematic universe. So, and what's so amazing about it is that it is a time show, and you're probably, for those who don't know, I'm sure you guys know, but for those who don't know, what makes this show a time show is particularly the part of this is about variant Loki. What variant Loki is the Loki that if you watched Endgame, if you haven't, what are you doing with your life? Come on, Endgame. It's been out for years. 2, I think, maybe 3, but variant Loki is the Loki that when they went back in time to change things around, he escaped. And he was able to cause those branches of time. And that's what's so special about this show. It's going to talk about his role and what's going on with him. It's going to bring up the time. I think I'm saying this wrong. I want to say the time rule. If I'm saying it wrong, sorry, I forgot their name. But the 3 lizards who is controlling the time, outside of time, inside of time. They're controlling time. And what's really good about this is that Kevin Feige is using this particular storyline and this thing about the time police, time whatever. He's using them to explain that thing that happened in Endgame that everybody's still debating about. What's going on with the timeline? Is it with the MCU timeline? What happened when they went back in time when they had those branches off and then they put the branches back? Did it cause anything? What is going on with Captain America? Did he go to an alternate timeline? And if he did, how did he end up old in this timeline? Did he use another ability to travel here? Well, this show is technically going to explain some of those things away, probably in Easter eggs and other things like that. So that's what makes this show great. And it's also going to explain why variant Loki is going to be used in this show to, tackle these types of things, because apparently whatever he did and whatever other people have done has caused all these crazy shifts in time. And now I'm assuming he has to solve it in his Loki way. So this is going to be a very, anti-hero great show.
I wonder if Trunks is going to show up.
But he wouldn't. No, this is not Dragon Ball. No,
You don't get it? Ray gets it.
Yeah, because he's a time patrol, and no,
Yeah.
doesn't. No,
Yeah.
that wasn't even. You didn't even try. That wasn't even good.
Yeah.
Was that a joke? Was that
No, that wasn't a
Was that
joke.
supposed to be the joke?
No.
Was that supposed to be the joke?
No.
I think that's supposed to be a joke.
No.
That's supposed to be a joke.
No.
Was that, no.
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 You would know
No.
if it's a joke.
I would
You
know.
would
Okay. Okay. All right. But speaking of, this time patrol type stuff, how do you guys feel about it? Y'all, do you feel that it's going to, solve or answer those questions, or you think this is just going to make it more elaborate and more crazy to where we're going to leave the show being like, what? What do y'all think? Anything?
I feel like number one, it's going to be very, very interesting. I watched some of the little clips that they have that they had available, little snippets from the show. Some of them were funny. Others were, they didn't give away too much, but they kind of let you know, like, okay, we see kind of what the, I don't want to say timeline because there's a lot of timeline.
Uh-oh. Did we lose him?
Hey,
Breaking
Ray.
up a little bit?
It's hard to just go off of like
Hey.
30 seconds.
Ray, I just want to tell you this.
Do what now?
I just want to tell you this. Like, you low key kind of cutting in and out.
He went through the time portal. See, that's Loki. Loki doesn't want him to tell about the show. That's all
I
that
hate
is.
you that you said you low key. I hate that you said that.
He did.
I'm glad
he
that
did
you
say
told me I'm
Loki.
having issues, but I hate that you said that.
Yeah, he did say Loki. Yeah, it
Either
slipped
way.
right under me. I didn't even see it. Hear it. Good job.
Yeah, I'm trying to adjust
Ha.
stuff here so I can stop having issues. But I don't think it's going to ruin it. I think it's going to be fine. It's hard to go off of 30-second clips of stuff to really judge a show as a whole. But I did like what I saw. I have to say that. I will say in one of the clips, I like that he referred to Iron Man in one of the clips, because he said when he was talking to the people that were coming to arrest him, he was like, I've had about enough of people in suits of armor trying to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got what you were saying. And I'm assuming, my guess is that has to be probably one of the first, maybe that's one of the first places he ends up, like right after everything happens, that, that he makes that reference that quick, so I'm assuming that's one of the first ones. But as far as your question, I think it's safe. I don't think it's going to ruin it. I don't think it's going to be bad. I think it's going to be good. And like I said, it's going to tie the two phases together. I think it's going to be a good transition into the new phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe with the Eternals and all of that stuff. I think it's going to help with all of it. And I bet you they're going to have a lead up to, it's still going to be, it's a lead up, and then there's going to be that weird gap, I'm assuming, but they're going to have a pretty good lead up to the next Thor movie. I think they're going to figure out a way to squeeze in there for that.
Right.
I feel like since you're messing with timeline,
Yeah.
I bet you they are.
Yeah. What about you, Snake? What you think?
About.
Do you think this show is going to get you lost? Haha, I did one. I don't know. Or is it going to make sense? It was good. Or is it going to make sense as far as like explaining all that, time and stuff?
Right, like there's no way to tell with how WandaVision just went.
Yeah.
I mean, and how it just, there's no way to tell. You can think you know what's going to happen in this, and it's just going to go completely left. Like, I do like the fact that he does. I know by some of the trailer parts I did see. I mean, he does become that time patroller type person. He gets a suit and everything. Like, he starts helping them. So I don't know if it's just to settle his own agenda or if he figures out like, oh, these guys need to be stopped. It's going to be interesting to see all the different Lokis too.
Yeah. Speaking of that, that's a great segue. When you're done, I can't wait. It's a great segue.
Done. I mean,
I'm
excited to watch.
Speaking of that, yeah. Speaking of that, that's something else that's really going on. Like I said before, with this Loki character, since he's a variant, he has caused other variants, which is other Lokis, to appear. Now I'm confused as to why. As if you didn't know anything about WandaVision, we're gonna go back a little bit. Wanda is a Nexus being, and Nexus being means she's the complete same each time. No matter what she does with the timeline, she can mess it up as many times as she wants. Every Wanda in every universe will be the same, so it won't change her at all. But and there are other characters like that are Nexus beings, but Loki is not one of them. So when he changed stuff in the timeline, this guy, whatever he did, he caused other, I'm assuming, other Lokis to do other things. And I'm assuming that they realized this, or a certain someone has realized this, and now, you know, it's like the war is on. Assuming, because there are rumors that one of the Lokis or all the Lokis are going to be like, you know what, we know that we messed with the timeline, or one of us did, so now we want to take over all of the timelines, or we want to play tricks on all the timelines, be the trickster, or one of them just wants to be the only Loki, which means I kill all the other Lokis, I become the most powerful Loki. That's the running theories. I'm not sure which one, but we will see. Now, speaking of that, there is a particular Loki, which I'm sure that's why you all are here to see. And since you're here, go ahead and like, subscribe, you know, share this content right now, because we're going to get into the meat and potatoes, which is Lady Loki. Who is Lady Loki? What is she? That's just a phrase. It's just a phrase. Just a phrase. Okay, ice cream and cookies, whatever your thing is that you want, that's great. You can get it here, which is, who is this Lady Loki? Well, in the comics, I'm not going to go too much because I'm sure, you know, Snake is the comic guy. He could probably tell you way more on Nerdmation. Go watch it. And I'm sure you play any type of Marvel cinematic or Marvel video game from way back in the day, Sega and all that, you can go to, you know what I'm saying, to get down and, you know, learn from that. But back to what we're talking about here. Lady Loki was a version of Loki when Loki was able to, you know, he was always able to change forms, but he was able to switch bodies. I think he tried to switch bodies. That the body that was supposed to go to, if I'm correct, the Enchantress or something like that, and he stole her body and he became this version of Loki. Now there's different writings, of course, or comic drawings, of course, of this, and things that happen in origin stories or whatnot. But that's the premise. But what people are believing is going to happen here is that this is just going to be an alternate timeline Loki that just happens to be a girl. Now, there's a woman by the name of Sophia Di Martino. If you've seen her, you know she looks like blonde hair. She's played in different things before. Well, she dyed her hair blonde. She's actually a brunette, and when she has a brunette hair, she looks like she can be a version or a sister or a version of Tom Hiddleston. It's very weird, you know, whatever. So, but the theory with her is that she is supposed to possibly be Lady Loki. It was a Twitter picture that came out of her in like a behind the scenes settings. It was probably on purpose that Marvel, you know, showed that. And she was wearing a green getup that possibly could look like something that Loki would wear. But we really couldn't see anything beyond that. And the pictures were, it kind of like faded away, where she was like walking around in like a trench coat, probably because, you know, it was raining outside and they were still filming with the film crew and all that. So you really couldn't see anything beyond that. When you go to IMDb, the Internet Movie Database, Internet Movie Database, and you look up her name, it doesn't say who she's playing. Now, what's significant about this is that there's rumors that she also may be playing Enchantress, because they say Enchantress is supposed to be in the show as well. Now, Enchantress does, if I'm correct, she does have blonde hair. So it's like, will she play Enchantress? And then there's, and now she is scheduled for 6 episodes. So that does make you wonder. Now, there's another girl in there on the cast. I think her name is Sasha, and she's scheduled for 3 episodes. Now, me personally, I would think that maybe she'll be Lady Loki, more or less, because why reveal Lady Loki at the beginning, right? Why not reveal her at the end? She's only in 3 episodes. Would make a lot more sense to me, but who knows how they're doing. And also, there's another character by the name of Sylvie. I'm probably butchering her name, and I know this because there's a Kylie is a girl, Kylie something. I forgot her last name, but she's playing young Sylvie. And usually, whenever they cast a character as a young version of something, that means that character is important, and that character is going to be in the show as an adult sooner or later. Now, what's special about this character, Sylvie, she's supposed to be like worshiping or want to be a Loki character. She's supposed to be someone I think Loki trained or, mentored, and then she wants to be everything Loki wanted. She wants to be everything like Loki. So technically, Lady Loki's probably not in the show at all. It could be Sylvie, and she could be portraying or pretending to be Loki or trying to go into the Time Bureau, I think that's or whatever, to destroy it, to set Loki free, or maybe to kill Loki because she wants to be Loki. Who knows? I'm not really sure, but those are the theories. So if you guys have any theories of your own, let us know in the comments. Let us know right now live what you want. Well, I mean, what you guys think, and we can discuss it. But I want to know what my boys think, because I know you guys are, I know you guys are Marvel fans. I know you guys know some of this history. So, what do you think? Is it Lady Loki? Is it Enchantress? Are all three of them going to be in the show, or do you? And if you don't know, who would you want to be in the show? Who would you want to see as somebody that would like shake up things on the show that can be in the MCU? So, anyone y'all can go first.
Man. Honestly, I think it could possibly be all of them and much more. Because the way that it's a time, we're going to see so many different Lokis, different worlds, so like different Lokis doing different things to different people in different worlds. I can see them, I could probably see them having multiple people, like Enchanters, like all of them. I can see that. I would not put them past that at all. I'm just really curious at how this story is going to go. And this is a build up for the next one too. So this is supposed to be the kind of a lead up into the Universe of Madness. I'm assuming Doctor Strange is going to make an appearance in here too somewhere.
Yeah. What about you, Hammer?
I think Tyler is 100% on to something. Because I did forget about the fact that I did forget about the fact that there was going to be the next Doctor Strange, and the Universe of Madness would be like that. This fits right into that. So even like Thor, Love and Thunder, and it could be that this sets up the Doctor Strange movie to set up the Thor, Love and Thunder movie. Who knows? They find ways to integrate everything, because in the middle of all that, you still got the Eternals, and then they're still scheduled. They still have what is it? The Secret Wars, Avengers Secret Wars. All of that stuff is planned in the future, but. And all of this can be trickled down.
Yeah.
Just when you think you know what they're planning, they throw a curveball at you. So
yeah,
exactly. They're good at doing that too.
Kevin Feige is a genius. I will say that. I mean, he's playing everything close to the. I don't even know that phrase anymore. Close to the hip. Whatever. He's keeping everything close to the best belt or something, whatever. But he's not letting everything out. He's not letting everybody know everything, which I think is amazing. But what I think is really, really dope is the fact that there's been rumors to saying at the time people that they may be the villains, possibly, that they could possibly end up being the villains. Now, what's so remarkable about that for me is that, okay, so we have a couple of things that I think that we need to happen, that will need to happen in the MCU over time, right? So you have mutants. Mutants the mutants have to show up. They have to address the mutant thing and the Inhuman thing because since Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't anymore, and technically Captain Marvel is a Inhuman to an extent, they have to really kind of go and explain how humans are mixed with the mutants, and I'm sure Eternals are going to bring a little bit of that or whatever. Then they have to explain, like I said, the Captain America thing, and then they have to explain, like you said, Doctor Strange is supposed to be that guy where he's supposed to protect the timeline as well. So how much does he know about the time people? How much does he interact? How much doesn't he interact? So all of those things need to be answered, and I'm assuming that if, let's say, the time people are bad and all of that stuff just goes haywire, Loki destroys them all, it can cause so many ripples to where now Doctor Strange has to come in, Wanda and a bunch of others, then mutants are born. It cause anything in turn. It can cause so much. So I'm really excited. So I think that I'm really excited.
I don't know if we talked about it, but I think the Eternals movie is when they're going to kind of link the mutant together. Because apparently it's supposed to be something about the Eternals like being on the Earth for so long, like the radiation from them coming off of the planet and like eventually seeking into the bodies of humans over time type stuff. That's where the mutant genes come along and stuff like that. So I can't remember if we talked about that on our show or not.
Yeah, we've talked about it before. Yeah. And that's why I think it's so amazing. But, we got to remember who we're talking about. We're talking about Kevin. So remember how he did with Endgame and some of the other movies. So imagine like Avengers, 5 or something like that. Then when Avengers 5 start, we seeing clips from all those shows. We see a clip from Loki, and then it shows this happened. And we see a clip like maybe somebody's reading a paper about what the Eternals, who's the Eternals, and somebody's that, and it's like all of that is like feeding into now in Avengers 5 we got, I don't know, Secret Wars, or we got, Wolverine coming in and, all this stuff like that, because that's what he does. He's very good at, he'll give you this, and he'll give you that, and you think, okay, that's great. They just add mutants, and they just said that, now it's a multiverse. Cool, but they're not together. It's just their own separate stories. So you think. Then all of a sudden, then Loki's like, well, are they separate stories? Then Avengers 5 come out, boom, they're all connected, and you're like, whoa. Just the same way we didn't realize how connected Black Panther was with this movie and that movie, and then that's how he does. I can't wait.
You know what? And it was crazy. Side note, you said that about Wolverine and whatnot. I read an article on Facebook, and nothing is 100% confirmed, but I read this deal where they were saying that some of the people working with Marvel were thinking about or were throwing the idea around of introducing Wolverine in a Wolverine versus Hulk.
They need
movie.
Oh yeah.
They need to.
Because and they said that what they would do is basically tell the story as if they take it back to when Logan escapes from the Weapon X facility in Canada, and there's basically the Canadian version of the Avengers is after them. I forget what they call them, but we need to look at this. He's a mutant, but it also gives a way for them to say, okay, we're going to send Hulk.
Yeah. I think he just noticed that he went out. Right. But yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah. I definitely agree. I mean, guys, I'm sure you guys were able to understand the majority of that, whatever, because the rest of it is just details. And pretty much that makes sense. You got Weapon X, which, the weapons program in general, which Super Soldier, Captain America, and all these things that Ross is trying to do. If anybody watches the cartoon or know the comics, that Ross, quote unquote, becomes the Red Hulk anyway later on. But that's a whole nother side note. So all these things can introduce us to Logan, and they don't necessarily have to. I mean, they don't necessarily, if they want to do it sneakingly, they don't necessarily have to give us him at the beginning. They could have him walking. They can just have they could say, "Oh, we saw a Wendigo," and you see a dude with these claws, and you're like, "Ain't that?" And then it turns out it's him the whole time. Then they can introduce him in a in a Hulk versus Wolverine. So yeah, and then that could be one way they do it, and then they can have then. Let's say we're watching the Eternals movie, right? And we're watching Eternals through time. And then then somebody who's really smart and really amazing, who has nothing else but time to go back and look at every minute of that trailer or that movie, will see that in the background in 1982, there was a dude at a bar drinking or something that had this weird hair, and he was about to beat somebody up, and you're like, bro, ain't that? And that's what they'll do. They do stuff like that.
They can go back to those movies or wherever, and they can edit those in, like
especially with the Eternals. You're right. They can do that.
Like they can go back to those movies, find a character that looks similar. Like, okay, we're gonna use him, and then go into the new movie and like edit it to look like that was him the whole time. So,
and that's what's so good about Loki too. Yeah. Yep. And that's another thing that was good about Loki. Imagine him. They're saying, "Oh, we're gonna send you back to New York when the alien invasion," but something happens and he gets jumped back even further. This is 1982 or something, and then we see Wolverine running around, and you think, oh, this is an alternate timeline. No, that was the main Avengers timeline. So they can do all of those things, and that's what's really great about having a show like Loki, a time show. And I think what I love what Disney and Marvel is doing, they're taking something, because you couldn't do this in a movie. Maybe in 3 or 4 movies somebody would mess it up, but in a show like this, you can do like 3 or 4 or 5 seasons possibly, and you can explain the little things that don't make sense. You can bring in things that you can bring in, like the Celestials. You can bring in Galactus, the Fantastic Four. You can have Loki meet Reed Richards, and you can have all this stuff happen, and then we finally get them later, and then it'll make sense. You can have him land on the moon or something and then see the Silver Surfer fly by, and he's like, a man on the surfboard, and then he gets jumped through time and somewhere else. And they can do all those things. They can just hint it, mention, because it's a TV show and it's technically a comedy, so he can just play around with those. And that's what I love about this type of show. So I'm excited, guys. I hope you guys are excited. So because I'm just excited, and more or less, I kind of want to know. I'm hoping, me personally, I'm hoping that they don't do the, no offense to anybody out there, anything. I just really hope that they make Lady Loki a different timeline Loki, because I think it would make more sense to be like a Highlander. I'm gonna kill everybody, or whatever the case may be. I don't want it to where he transforms into her. That just seems like it'll be like, oh yay. It wouldn't seem great to me. So I don't know how y'all feel about it. I know some people might say, oh, that's great because he's like, he can transform, or he could be a girl and a guy. That's beyond the point. We're not gonna talk about that. But the point is, what was that? But the point is that I think that it would be better if it was just a girl Loki. Then if he does talk with that Loki, then they can have like some dialogue, and then it could be like maybe she's a more mature version than he should be, or maybe they can talk, maybe she's lost everyone, and maybe they can relate or non-relate. I think those things would be truly amazing.
This is a total, I know it's ain't hit it, but what if that would be kind of crazy, like the girl Loki from that universe? What if the Thor Loki was the woman Thor? The Thor, like
I get what you mean.
You know what I'm saying? Like what's her name? That's supposed to be playing her, Natalie Portman.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Supposed to be the new Thor or whatever. Like, what if that universe was her and this? I don't know.
That would be dope, because it'll kind of foreshadow what she's gonna come later in this universe. But so that kind of give a little Easter egg, and then at the same time, it's like, what's happening here? So and then it kind of be kind of funny to see how our Loki would kind of respond to that. He'd be like, ain't no way she's that strong, and she just knocks his head off, and he like flies across the room. He's like, oh, so all of that, because like I said, it's still a comedy, so I'm still like excited about that. And speaking of dialogue, another thing that I actually heard and actually saw, so there was a picture, and in that picture there, and it was also in the trailer, you saw Loki sitting down with a girl that possibly was wearing black. You really couldn't tell. And she had different color hair. Now, this is a theory, not a theory, this is a hope that fans are wanting or whatever. And this is probably, I would say this is probably one of the lines of somebody like what Hammer would want, opposed to, what Snake would want or Snake would care about. But this is the thing. A lot of fans are like, what if Loki is talking, or what if that's the other Loki that died and he's talking to Natasha who died, or he went in time and he's able to talk to her before she died or in that death scene, and then maybe maybe they're trying to figure out a way to resurrect her or bring her back, because maybe, that's what a lot of people are hoping for. But which I wouldn't mind. The problem with that for me is that I don't think, I understand cancel culture and bring back culture. That's I gotta work on that. I know I gotta work on what to call that, bring back culture, whatever. But the problem with that is that I don't think enough fans have like written in and said, "Hey, we want her back now," or "We're going to get you Disney," or whatever the case may be, or whatever. I don't think they rallied enough behind that, because a lot of times you can rally enough behind something, Snyder Cut, whatever, and when you rally behind it, the powers to be can move and make some things happen. I don't think that's happened unless, Scarlett Johansson, she came to them and said she's not done and she wants to do more movies, and they said, cool, okay. I don't know, but that's a hope for people. I don't think that's the case. I just think that's a different character altogether. Me personally, I think it's just it probably might just be some random character, but it would be kind of cool if that was the case. Like you said, we do not know, but that's just a running theme because they played it a lot. But also, we gotta remember, people, trailers like to, play tricks on you. Look at WandaVision. That all those trailers, you thought, oh, okay, I get this gist of the show. Then it was like, what? Even Falcon and Winter Soldier, you thought, oh, these trailers are straightforward, and then it went whoop, and you was like, whoa, wait, bruh, wait, what? Why? What happened? So that's pretty much, I think, how this show is going to be. Especially, again, it's a comedy, so who knows? That could be him dreaming that he wants to have sex with Scarlett Johansson. Well, not Scarlett Johansson in particular, but Black Widow. So he could be thinking, Loki could be dreaming. Okay. He could be getting tortured and be like, then he wake up, that was a horrible dream. I mean, who knows? It's a comedy, so they can technically do whatever they want. They can. So, and it's Loki, and Loki is off. He's really off, and he does the most unusual things. Like, I can imagine when because they got fight scenes in there. It's not going to be your particular fight scenes where he's like, boom, boom, boom. He's probably going to do a little fight, and he's like, hold on 1 second. And it's going to be kind of like the Joker in DC. He's just going to do like a lot of funny, weird stuff. He's going to teleport, hit somebody on the head, and then he's probably gonna try to kill them, and then the time people gonna be like, you can't do that, but he's bad. I can kill him. No, you can't do that, but so if I can't kill good people, I can't kill bad people. What am I here to do? And then stuff like that. So I could just see all of these little dynamics happening, and it'd be funny. While Lady Loki or whoever that girl is probably just slaughtering people left and right, and I can just see him. Let's say he's supposed to stop her, right? He goes in, it's a theory. He's going in, he's trying to stop her, and then he sees her killing. He's like, oh, that's awesome. You letting her get away. Oh. Well, I mean, can you blame her? Stuff like that. So I can see him doing that type of stuff, and that could be a problem because from what Owen Wilson's character, when he talked about his character technically is supposed to be a fan of Loki because he's seen the original Loki go from bad to good and sacrifice himself for Thanos. So he's hoping that this Loki was going to make the same choices. So he's probably going to be like, let's send him out there. He's going to be okay. You can do it. And this Loki at first, maybe for the first 2, 3, maybe 4 episodes, don't care to save people. Maybe he's just like, look, everybody dies, whatever. Can I go home now? Whatever, So I'm excited. I'm interested. So, I can't wait to see that. And then Owen Wilson, I'm really wondering how his character's going to be. I wonder how funny he's going to be and how serious. Maybe he's the bad guy, And then I wonder if they're going to do something like a Kang or I know Kang Conqueror is supposed to come out in Ant-Man. I wonder if they're going to reference him in this show because, he's supposed to, because technically he has ties to the Time Bureau or whatever they're called as well because he's from the future. And then that girl who I love her. I love her and other stuff. Gugu, whatever her name is. I forgot her last name. He's supposed to be, Kang the Conqueror, supposed to be in love with her character, and then she dies or something in the future, and that's why he ends up turning bad because he's trying to get her back and his son back, and then nothing works, so he takes over the Time Bureau, and he goes back, fights the Avengers. And I mean, if you guys don't know Kang Conqueror, look him up. Comics, they got TV, they got cartoons of it, of from the last Avengers cartoons and stuff like that. So look him up. He's gonna be great in Ant-Man. But I hope they reference him here, and I hope, or maybe way, because that's not what Loki would want you to do it the most honest way. Wink. So
Fire stick.
But are you gonna watch it? So, but that's pretty much my show, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. What other shows do you want me to talk about? Some shows from Netflix. There's some shows from Netflix. There's some lot of good content coming from Netflix. What about Amazon Prime? Apparently people love that. I'm not talking about buying boxes and stuff in boxes and clothes and whatnot. I'm talking about the shows. And what about stuff that's on quote unquote regular TV? The cable stuff. Whoever has cable. You guys still have cable? That's the thing. Anyway, so why don't you let me know? Let these guys know in the comments, in the live sections. You guys don't like to talk anymore. Maybe you just like to talk on my show, like talk on Hammer show. It's fine. It's okay. It's okay. No, it's fine. But let us know, and we will make that content for you. But with that said, guys, I am Mingo D, and this has been Prime Time. We'll catch you guys.